Welcome to lesson number 5, where we talk about the elimination diet level 1. In many cases, people don't actually have intolerance to a specific food, but rather to the chemicals that are added to the food during the food production. Emulsifiers, preservatives, colorings, sweeteners, nitrates, sulfates, and many more. So if you are someone who eats a huge amount of overly processed food, this might be the right level for you. A diet of an average person in a Western civilized country consists of more than 50% of processed food. So I want you to go and look back at your food journals to see what percentage of your food intake actually comes in a processed form. And what is processed food? Processed food is basically anything that has been altered from its original state. Does most of the food you eat come from a tree, from a farm, from a plant, or from a sea or river or an animal? Or does it rather come in a packaging, in a box, glass jar, a can, or plastic packaging, and it was produced in a factory? Look at your journal, look at the food that you ate the most often and in larger quantities, and specifically on days when you experienced any unpleasant symptoms. Is the food overly processed? Is majority of the food you ate during those days overly processed? Take the food, flip it around, look at the nutrition label and at the list of the ingredients. Is there more than 3 or 4? Are there any ingredients that you have actually no idea what they are? How far is the food you eat from its original state when it came from the plant or from the soil or from the sea? If you are the person who consumes too much overly processed food, I would recommend you to start with this level. So you will be basically eliminating all heavily processed food, especially foods that have a lot of additives, colorings, sugar alcohols, emulsifiers, preservatives, stabilizers, nitrates, sulfates, taste enhancers, and similar. And instead of that, you will be eating wholesome, non-processed foods without any additives or preservatives. You are allowed to eat processed foods that don't have any artificial ingredients in them. So if you look at the list of ingredients at the back of the food packaging and you recognize every single one of those ingredients and you can tell that this is a real wholesome food, that it's just different types of foods put together without any additives, you can eat those foods. And you will be doing this for 3 to 4 weeks, and again recording everything you eat and observing symptoms. And in this diet level, you will be naturally forced to eat more fruit, veggies or legumes. I want you to watch my previous lesson, lesson number 4, where I talk about digestive issues that can be caused by introducing too much high fiber foods all in once. So be careful with not overloading your GI tract. And if you don't know what is processed food, as I said, it's anything that has been altered from its original state. Food is typically processed by cooking, cutting, getting dehydrated, and mixed with additives. And the more the food is altered from its original state, the more is processed. So when we talk about minimally processed foods, it can be something like milk, which was basically just pasteurized. And the foods at the other side of the spectrum are usually called as ultra-processed foods. Here is just an example for illustration how ordinary boiled potato can be altered and processed all the way to salty crackers full of preservatives and additives that have pretty much nothing to do with being a potato anymore. So if you feel like this diet level is the right for you, follow my guidelines for 3 to 4 weeks, record what you eat and how you feel in the food recording journal, and after 3 to 4 weeks, evaluate the situation. If your symptoms disappeared, good for you, you have solved the problem. If not, you may need to proceed with a stricter level of the elimination diet. So go back to the program and watch my next lessons. After 3 to 4 weeks of eliminating processed foods, you can start introducing them back little by little into your diet and testing how it makes you feel. If your symptoms come back, you have the culprit. So talk to you soon.